Hey there, it's Friday. I am doing Friday Night Live. I'm going to make it super quick tonight though. I've got something else going on, so I need to hop off. But I didn't just want to not show up either. I do try to come on here at 6 o'clock every Friday night and at least do a little bit of a talk about something having to do with retirement. So tonight I wanted to talk very briefly about the federal open season. The federal insurance open season is taking place right now. It will go through the 14th of December. Not all of our federal insurances have an open season. So the ones that do include the health insurance, the dental and vision insurance, the flexible spending accounts. They're not an insurance, but the open season runs concurrent with the open season that we do have for the insurances. Long-term care insurance does not have this annual open season. They don't need one. You can sign up whenever you want to. That doesn't mean you're going to be accepted necessarily. Certain pre-existing conditions can preclude you from getting coverage, but you don't have to wait for an open season to sign up. That's the long-term care insurance. The Federal Employees Group Life Insurance also does not participate in the open season. So what I want to talk very briefly about is the things that you need to consider during open season when you're making choices about which insurances you want to sign up for, or maybe you're going to be making a change. So I'm going to start out with the Federal Employees Health Benefits, FEHB, or just health insurance. There are over 260 different plans available across the country. Not all available everywhere, because some of them are HMOs that are very limited to parts of geography, like little areas, but 260 overall. So that's a lot to think about. It's much easier if you break it down into the three kinds of insurances that we have, and then just look at those types of insurance. Hey, Brent, thank you. First kind is called the fee-for-service plan. Now, a fee-for-service plan gives you the most flexibility in that you can go where you like for your medical care. You've got a copay, you've got a deductible, and those ones might be a little bit more expensive because you do have so much flexibility. We have an HMO. HMOs are limited to certain areas. Those ones are operating under a contract. So you don't have the flexibility that you do with the fee-for-service. That doesn't mean you can't go outside of your network, but if you are trying to go outside of your network, then you're hoping to get a referral from your primary care provider. And then the third kind that we have is a high deductible health insurance. Whenever I'm teaching class, I always talk about car insurance when we talk about the high deductible plans. I think it makes it a little easier to understand. If you call your car insurance company tomorrow morning and tell them that you want to raise your deductible, your rates are going to go down. You're going to save money, your premiums are going to be lower. Until you have an accident, everything is great. But when you have the accident, now you have to pay those higher deductibles. The high deductible health insurance plans operate under that same type of a premise. So pick a type, then look at those types and see what's available to you. They're all open right now at opm.gov. You can look at them, you can compare them side by side. After you pick the type and the plan, you decide who to enroll. Self-only, that's obviously only yourself. Self plus one, where you can cover yourself and one qualified family member. That could be a child up to the age of 26 or your spouse. Or you can get a self and family where you cover yourself and any number of qualified family members. So there's a lot of different choices actually underneath that one. For the high deductible plans that I mentioned, those deductibles are as much as $1,400 if you're enrolled in a self-only. They're $2,800 if you have a self plus one or a self and family, and out-of-pocket costs can be elevated as well. So you can see that right here. But one of the benefits of doing the high deductible health insurance, if you don't go to the doctors very often and are willing to pay those higher deductibles, is that these allow you to participate in something that's called a health savings account, or an HSA. The HSA, I like to talk about as being an IRA for healthcare, because you put money into that HSA, it's invested, it can grow for you over time, and as long as you are using the money in your HSA for health expenses, you don't pay taxes on any of that money. There's a big difference too between flexible spending accounts and health savings accounts. Flexible spending accounts, anyone that's eligible to enroll in the health insurance can get. Health savings accounts are only available to those people that are enrolled in the high deductible health insurance plans. Flexible spending accounts are use or lose. Health savings accounts belong to you. So you can keep that pot of money for as long as you want to. And like I said, as long as you're using it for health expenses, you're not going to pay any taxes on that health savings account. For the health insurance, the FEHB, the federal government does pay 72% of the weighted average cost of those 260 plus plans that are out there, if you are working full-time. If you're working part-time, they pay a proration for you based upon the number of hours that you work compared to a full-time person. So for example, if I'm working 20 hours a week, I'm working 50% of the hours that a full-time person does, then they would pay 50% for me of what they would pay for a full-time person. So that's just something to be aware of as well if you're investigating enrolling in the federal employees health insurance plan. Life insurance does not participate in the open season, as I told you. So to make changes to your FEGLI, Federal Employees Group Life Insurance, you have to have a QLE. That's a qualifying life event. If you are trying to get the basic life insurance and it has been at least a year since you opted out, then you can have a physical. And if you have a physical, everything's fine. Then once you submit that form to the FEGLI office, you can get the basic insurance. And once you have the basic insurance, that will then give you 60 days during which you could sign up for option A, which is an additional $10,000 worth of life insurance. Option B, where you pick 1 through 5 times your annual salary. And option C is life insurance on your family members. So for that one, up to $2,500 on your kids, but only to age 22, $5,000 on your spouse, picking a multiple of 1 through 5 times those dollar amounts. But a QLE for that is something's changed in your family. You got married, somebody passed away, you had a child, you adopted one, you got a foster child, something of that nature. Again, the life insurance doesn't participate in the open season, so I'm not really going to focus on that one tonight. The dental and vision insurance does participate in open season, open now, going on through the 14th of December. You can enroll in dental or vision or both at benefeds, benefeds.com. For this, there is self-only. There is self plus one or self and family, just like we saw with the health insurance, but the ages for the children are different. Health insurance, they can stay up to age 26. Dental and vision insurance, they come off at age 22. I love the website. Again, it's benefeds.com. If you go there, you can just type in your zip code, click a little bubble to indicate that you're looking for only dental, only vision. They'll give you a really nice matrix for your local area that says, here's what's available. You can see the price for the self-only, self plus one, self and family. There's always a hyperlink that you can click on, which will take you directly into the booklet for that program. You can read all about it. And as I said, you can sign up right there. Couple of things to keep in mind too, the health insurance. If you want to carry that into retirement, must be in place 5 years before you retire. Now, it doesn't have to be FEHB. There are some allowances for TRICARE and CHAMP VA. Not going to talk about that tonight, but I've got to be covered under a federal insurance for the last 5 years that I was working in order to take that federal insurance into retirement with me. I've got to have the life insurance in place for the last 5 years that I was working in order to take it into retirement with me. I don't need the dental insurance for 5 years. I don't need the vision insurance for 5 years. And if we're talking about retirement, know that the flexible spending accounts don't go. Flexible spending accounts are a great way for you to save a little bit of money on income tax, but only while you're working. We have a healthcare flexible spending account, a limited expense healthcare flexible spending account, and a dependent care flexible spending account. The difference between them is what counts as a qualified reimbursable expense. So for the healthcare, it's anything that's health related except the cost of premiums. Co-pays, deductibles, stocking the medicine cabinet, even over-the-counter medication can be reimbursable under the healthcare one. The limited expense healthcare flexible spending is limited only to those people that do have a high deductible plan, and it will only reimburse dental and vision. The dependent care account will reimburse you to pay someone to look after a child up to the age of 13 unless they're disabled, or anyone that you can legally claim on income tax. So if you're caring for elderly parents and you can't leave them alone, you need to hire someone to watch them so that you can work, you could use your dependent care account for that. During the open season is when you enroll in a flexible spending account and you decide how much money you want to put in there. The minimum is $100 a year. The maximum for the healthcare and the limited expense healthcare is $2,750 a year. The maximum for the dependent care is $5,000. You choose, and then over this coming year, in equal installments from each of your paychecks, money is going to be subtracted before taxes and put into your flexible spending account bucket. And then you're reimbursed between January 1st and December 31st for any qualified expenses. For the dependent care, you have until the 15th of March. There's a little bit of a grace period during which you can spend the money. For the healthcare and the limited expense, it is only until December 31st. There's no longer, because we did for a while, but there's no longer an extension period. And because that's true, you are allowed to carry forward $500 from 1 year to the next for the healthcare or the limited expense healthcare. Now here, I want to be super clear about something. Flexible spending accounts require annual re-enrollment. You have to sign up every single year that you want to do it. So if you did one last year, but during this open season, you don't sign up to do one for the coming year, then you forfeit any money that is left in there on December 31st. But if you do sign up in the open season and you say, yeah, I want to do it next year too, then $500 can go from this year into that next year. Flexible spending accounts do turn off on the day that you leave the federal government. So whether you resign or retire on that day, any money that has not been spent is forfeited. The long-term care insurance does not participate in the open season either, but I wanted to mention it because we're talking about the entire insurance packet. This insurance is really unique. A lot of people don't know that the federal long-term care insurance plan is available not only to you and your spouse, but also your adult children, your parents, your parent-in-laws, and your step-parents. And all of these people are eligible enrollees simply because you work for the federal government or you're in the military. It's open to our military family members as well. And you don't have to be enrolled in the insurance yourself for these qualified family members to get it. They just check a box on the first page of the application that tells us that they are a qualified family member and they can sign up for that insurance. If they get it while you're working, they can keep it even after you leave your job. But if they don't get it while you're working, it's incredibly limited after the fact. If they don't get it while you're working, later on you can sign up, your spouse can sign up, your adult children can sign up, but the parents, the parent-in-laws, and the step-parents, they've got to sign up while you're working or they're going to lose their opportunity. Hey, Carolyn, thank you. Thank you very much. Carolyn said great info. I just shared it. I really appreciate that. And I know that the people that you're sharing it with really appreciate it as well. For the long-term care, again, not getting deep into it because it's not part of the open season program, but your price is very individualized when it comes to long-term care insurance through the federal government and on the outside as well. How old you are when you first sign up is going to drive your price. What you select as your daily benefit amount is going to drive your price, and you can pick $100 a day up to $450 a day in increments of $50. Whether you select inflation protection for the plan or not is going to affect your price and your benefit period, or how long you want the insurance company to pay benefits. You can choose a 2-year plan, a 3-year plan, a 5-year plan. That is going to drive your price. So the website here, if I can get my slide to go, is ltcfeds.com. LTC for long-term care feds.com. Tons of information on this website. Doesn't cost you anything to look at all of the resources that they have. They offer free webinars about a whole variety of topics as well. So even if you're not interested in the insurance, you might want to check out the website, ltcfeds.com. And you can also look at the calculator that they have on the website to go, okay, what if I pick $300 a day for 5 years with or without inflation? How old am I? And it'll give you a really great estimate of how much that long-term care insurance is going to be. This does not have to be in place 5 years before retirement, like the health insurance and the life insurance do. So I know, super quick, Brent, thank you for being here. Carolyn, thank you for being here. I got to run. Please don't hesitate to type any comments, questions that you might have. I will be checking back in with this later on tonight. Super happy to answer any questions that you might think of when it comes to your federal insurances and specifically this open season. Take care.